Hi guys, and welcome to my first ever YouTube video. I'm super excited. I've been wanting to do this for so long, but I just haven't, and I don't know why, but I am now. To start off, my name is Trinity. So today I'm going to show you guys all the books I read in 2023. My goal this year was to read 25 books, and I ended up reading about 35, I think. So I have the whole stack here of all the books I read, and I have my computer up so I know what I rated them and stuff. So the first book I read a lot of them on Kindle, so I'll put like a picture up. But the first book I read was The Book Thief. That one I read for school, so I don't really think I can rate that one because I love reading, but as soon as I have to read a book for school, I'm not gonna like it. I don't know why, but I just don't want to read it then. But honestly, I feel like it would have been a really good book if it wasn't for school purposes. The next book I read was another one for school, and that one was called Brother. I kind of like skimmed through that one, so I'm not going to rate that one either, just because like it's not fair if I do. The third book I read was the second book in the Devil's Nights series, and I don't know what it is, but that series is just not for me. I don't know if I'm just like not a like dark romance girl, but it's just there's so many things in that series that I just could not justify. It took me like till January to May to read that book, and it put me in the biggest slump ever. So yeah, that one I rated like 2 stars because again, it just was not for me. Like the first book I read, it put me in a big slump too, but like I heard so many good things about the series, so I wanted to give it a chance, but I could not justify what was in it. Then I read Every Summer After by Carly Fortune. This one I really liked. It was cute. Like it wasn't like a life-changing book, but this is right after I read Hideaway, and I really needed just a quick, easy read. I really liked it. I just hated the plot twist. Like the book was so good until the plot twist, and then when the plot twist hit, I was like, it just kind of ruined it for me. But I rated it like 4.25, which now thinking back, I think I would rate it like a 3.25, but it was really good, but just nothing like life-changing. Then I read Bad Cruise, and that one I had such high expectations for it, such high expectations, and that one just fell flat. For some reason in my head, Bad Cruise, like I was like, oh, they're like gonna be on a cruise, which they were, but they weren't even on the cruise for half the book. And I just did not connect with the characters. Nothing. Like I just, Then I read Things We Never Got Over by Lucy Score. I love this series so much. Just it has a special place in my heart. Like this was the first ever Lucy Score book I read. I love her writing so much, and just her character development and the way she builds on the story, it never got boring for me. And I read this in like a few days. Like this was really good. This is my comfort series. Then I read My Killer Vacation by Tessa Bailey. This again was my first ever Tessa Bailey book, and I had such high expectations. I was like, it's so short, like it's just gonna be a quick and easy read. Boy, was I wrong. This book, like, took me like over 10 days to finish this. Over 10 days, just because I could not get into it. It just was so unrealistic to me. They knew each other for like a few days, and they were like in love. And I know like books are not supposed to be realistic, but it's just like it was so far-fetched that I was just like, no. Then I read Indigo Bridge. I read this on my Kindle and I loved it, so I bought it. I love this book. I rated it like 3.5 stars, I think. It was really easy read, like super easy. And yeah, this was really good. I will be continuing the series. Then I read 1,000 Boy Kisses by Tillie Cole. That book was really good. It was so devastatingly sad, which you probably all heard, but it was so good too. I just hated the ending. Hated it. I know another one's coming out, but like I don't understand what they're gonna put in it. Because like if you've read 1,000 Boy Kisses, you know what I'm talking about. The end, like I just don't get what they're gonna add to it. I rated it, I think, 3 stars. So if you want a sad read, definitely recommend that one. Then I read Heartless by Marissa Meyer. This was, I think, my first fantasy read of the year. I read this book in 2 days, which is fast for me because I'm kind of a slow reader, but I love this book so much. I cried so hard, but it was so good. It's the Queen of Hearts, like her backstory of how she became evil and like the Queen of Hearts. I think about this at least once a week. I love it. I rated it, I think, like 4.25 stars because it didn't. I'm so picky when it comes to 5 stars. Like, I need to have that 5-star feeling, otherwise it won't be a 5-star. And this book, I was so close, but I just didn't get that 5-star feeling, and I was so disappointed. So I definitely recommend this. And then I read a novella from the Eden series. This one came before Indigo Ridge, and it's called Christmas in Quincy, and it was really good. It was super short, and it was just like a little holiday read. So I think I rated it like 3 stars because it was really good, short and sweet, but I just didn't connect to any of the characters because, again, it's like really short. But and then I read It Happened One Summer. I love this book. This book gave exactly what I wanted it to give. Grumpy Sunshine, but in a so good way. Like, it was so well written. I was really nervous going into this because the first Tessa Bailey book I read, hated. I rated this one 4 stars. And then I read The Summer of Broken Rules. This one I read when me and my friends went on like our summer trip. This book just reminds me of then, and it just feels like summer, and that just makes me love it that much more. It's friends to lovers, and it's so cute. And then I read When in Rome by Sarah Adams. This one was really good, really short. Again, this is another small town romance. I love small town romances. Like, they are my thing. I love them. But if you like small town romance, if you like Grumpy Sunshine, I rated it 3.25 stars. Oh my god. And then I read my first 5-star of the year, which was Ward D by Frida McFadden. This was my first thriller mystery book that wasn't like first book that wasn't romance, and I did not have very high expectations. I did not think I was gonna like it. I read this book in one sitting. So good. Keeps you on your toes the whole time. I didn't see the end coming. Like, I came up with so many different scenarios in my head, and none of them were what happened, and it was so good. And then I read the second book in the Not Come Out series, Things We Hide from the Light. I like this one too. This one was really good. I just feel like it was way longer than it needed to be. It wasn't as good as the first one for sure. This is definitely my least favorite in the series. I just didn't really feel the connection between the two love interests. This one is about Knox, the guy in the first book's brother, but it was still really good. I think I rated it like just about 4 stars. I'd say I brought it up to 4 stars. So then I read My Dark Romeo. I read this on Kindle originally. Loved it so much I bought it. Is the cover not just gorgeous? Like, are you kidding? This is beautiful. This is by Parker S. Huntington and LJ Shen. Arranged Marriage. Read this book. I almost rated it 5 stars, but the main girl, Dallas, in this, she was so unbearable at parts. It kind of ruined part of it for me, so that's why I couldn't give it 5 stars. And I loved Romeo in this. And then I started my journey in the Twisted series. I read Twisted Love. I loved it. I love Alex. I love him and Ava. Just the end, when he started singing, I kind of got the ick. I rated that book 4 stars. If you want to get into the Twisted series, this is your sign too. Then I read Twisted Games. I like this book more than the first one. I don't like Rice. I don't know how to say his name. I didn't like him as much as Alex, but I still like this book. Like, this trope, it was Bodyguard. This was my first Bodyguard book. I'm speechless. I love the trope so much. And I love the girl in it too. I rated that one 4.25 stars. Then I read Fourth Way. This is my baby. There are 3 books I read this year that I would die for, and this is one of them. I know there's so much hype behind it. This did not let me down at all. I love this book so much. It's Divergent meets Harry Potter meets Game of Thrones. Xaden. The dragons. This was my first book with dragons. I'm a changed woman. I am. No words can explain how this book made me feel. I finally convinced my sister to read it. She's reading Iron Flame right now. Rated this 5 stars. And then I read Normal People by Sally Rooney. Read this book. I read this book and it just made me feel the type of way that I can't even explain. Like, I completely understand this book. This book is not for everybody. There's no quotation marks or anything. And then I watched the series after, and I am a changed woman because of it. And then I read the last book in the Knockabout series, Things We Left Behind. This is my most anticipated read of 2023, and it did not disappoint. Like, this entire series, I needed to know what happened between Lucian and Sloane, and I did. And I was like, it just made me so mad because it was so stupid why they didn't like each other. Like, come on. But it was so good, and I loved the way it wrapped up, but it did hurt my soul when I read the last page of this book because the series is over. And like I said, this is my comfort series, and it's over. I recommend this series so much. I rated this one, I think, like 4.5. And then my second baby of the year. I don't have it right now because my friend's borrowing it because I'm forcing her to read it because I need to talk to somebody about it. Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross. Like, I have such a connection to this book. It's not even funny. Like, it's so beautifully written. Like, it's almost poetic the way it's written. And it's just so good. Then I read The Hex Peel by Kate Johnson. What was this? I hated this book. I'm sorry. I did not connect with the characters. It just seemed so childish to me. Like, it was Encanto meets Witches. It was painful to get through. And I don't know why I didn't just DNF it. I really don't. But this book just was not for me. Then I read Butcher and Blackbird. I really enjoyed that book. I needed it after that flop of a book. But I loved the Mindfuck series. And this one just reminded me so much of it. I rated that one 4 stars. Then, again, I don't have this book with me right now because I gave it to my other friend. She's reading it right now. But I read Icebreaker. I loved the book. It was good. Super cute. I loved the trope where it was figure skater and hockey player. I rated it 4 stars. My friend is also really enjoying it, so. My sister's reading it right now, so I don't have it with me. But then I read Iron Flame. I got my boyfriend to pre-order it for me, and I got it the first day, and oh my, I love this series so much. So much. 5 stars again. The end of this book, I think it broke me more than the ending of the first book. This one wasn't as good as the first one, but they were both still 5 stars. And then I read Wildfire by Hannah Grace. I love this book. I definitely liked it more than the first one. I love Russ so much. I loved him in the first book. But then when he got this book and you could like hear inside his head and like see what he was thinking and stuff, like, he is just such a sweetheart. It's forced proximity. I love when the characters from the first book come into the second book of a series. It just makes me so happy. That's when I rated, I think, 4.25. And then I read a book for school, and I'm not going to be rating this one because I am in no place to be able to rate it. But I read Indian Horse by Richard Wagamese. This was, I think, the first book for school that I had to read that I actually really enjoyed. There's also a movie, I think, on it, so if you don't want to read it, you can watch the movie. And then I read Flawless by Elsie Silver. I got into the Chestnut Springs series. I am obsessed with cowboys. I love this book so much. I connected with the characters. So excited to read the rest of the series because I love the bodyguard romance, and this isn't bodyguard because she's not his bodyguard, but like she's there to like keep him in line, and it's just, I loved it. And I love the cover too. Like, tell me that isn't gorgeous. I rated this 4 stars. I read The Christmas Fix by Lucy Score. This one was cute. It wasn't like anything life-changing. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It's a Christmas read. This was my first Lucy Score book that wasn't in the Knockabout series. I love her writing. Like, I just love Lucy Score's writing. Like, no matter what she writes, it won't disappoint. I think I rated it 3 stars. And then I read Wreck the Halls by Tessa Bailey. There's a sticker on this that won't come off. It's making me mad, so just ignore it. Pretend it's not there. This one was good. I liked it more than I liked The Christmas Fix. It was a cute Christmas read. I think I rated it 3 stars as well. It wasn't really giving me super Christmas vibes like the other one was. It was more just like it took place at Christmas time. And then I read my third and final baby of the year, Powerless by Lauren Roberts. I have watched Sarah Caroli talk about this so much, and I was like, I trust everything she says so much, so I decided to take her up on the offer and read it. And she did not disappoint. Oh my god, this book, the tension, the banter, Oh my god. Like, this is like Hunger Games meets fantasy. I know like the Hunger Games is fantasy, but it's more like Hunger Games meets Powers. The Prince, Kai, it's enemies to lovers. Their banter is unmatched. Unmatched. This one was 5 stars again. So good. And then my sister convinced me to read the Folk of the Air trilogy. And I have heard so many things about these books. Like, they're so hyped up. And it took me so long to get into this book. Like, it's so slow. And I really enjoyed it, but I only enjoyed it because of Jude. Jude is such a badass. And I love her so much. But this book was so slow. And it just fell flat for me. And then I read The Wicked King, the second book in the Folk of the Air trilogy. It's in my sister's room right now. I only have the first book, and then she has all 3. And I definitely liked it more than the first one. But again, this is my first like fae books I've ever read, and I enjoy the fae aspect of it. But there's just something that's falling flat for me. I rated the first book 3 stars, and then I think I rated this one like 3.25 stars. And those are all the books I read of 2023. I'm so happy I finished my reading goal. I passed it by like, again, like almost 10 books. And so this year my reading goal is 40 books. So I'm hoping I can make that mark. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I'm so excited to finally posting my first YouTube video. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. Bye!